However, let's look at schools on a much more less critical and much more positive angle. Some people say schools have been used to overcome systems of oppression rather than encourage them. So, for instance, you can look at this, and you might know about this from history, when the Supreme Court in America and the president sent in the army to essentially ensure that their schools could no longer be segregated, that black children in America could go to the same schools as white children, the government schools. And most people would probably argue that over the last 70 years since that date, that's broadly a good thing, that black children and white children in America are educated for the most part, in similar types of school or in the same schools. Okay. What else might be important? Well, I mentioned the middle class. Some people have argued that what politicians generally tend to do is what the middle class want them to do. And that's partly because the middle class is generally the biggest class in society. There's generally a few very, very rich people, and some, or in some places quite a lot, very, very poor people. But generally, especially in the West, there's the middle class, the people who are not in poverty, but not really, really rich, are in the majority. And therefore, if the middle class want something, they have more votes, and therefore the politicians generally do what they want. And the middle class can generally afford to pay for food, whereas them paying for education, which is really, really expensive, a lot of the middle class don't want to pay for education, especially if they've got lots of children. So that would be an argument that says schools are free because the middle class want to be free. Then finally, we'll just touch upon religion, where food and education is important to religion in general. Some religions emphasize sort of the values they want to teach through food more than others. So Sikhism has the langar in the Gurdwara, where free meals are served to everyone who comes. If you visit Sikh communities around the world, you can go, no one will stop you, and you'll get free food. So in a Sikh country, a dominant Sikh country, you could even argue that food was free. The production of it probably wouldn't be, but the distribution of it might be, for instance. But we don't really have a dominant Sikh population country, although the Punjab has a dominant Sikh population. Okay, then education. Some religions emphasize literacy or learning for the masses much more than others. So Catholicism did not necessarily think everyone needed to be able to read, because the Bible was in Latin, and if the priest reads and the priest understands the Bible, that's better than the people understanding it. Whereas in Protestantism, the other view is more dominant, that people should all be able to read the Bible and understand it. So you could argue that the fact that the free and compulsory education for all tended to emerge in the modern world quite prominently in Protestant countries, that might have something to do with those religious beliefs.